As mentioned at the beginning, our aim is to meet in person in Abu Dhabi in May. So you may ask yourself, how safe is it to travel? We are already in the new normal. This is a question we never thought that we will be asking ourselves. Can we meet at a conference in a few months' time? So yes, we can. And the next session is actually about how are several cities, destinations, conference centers, hotels preparing themselves for the reopening and make conferences secure again. What do we need to expect, or what can we expect? And for this, Kate, I think you have a very interesting roundtable for us. What can you tell us?
Absolutely. The title of our next session is Are Conferences and Exhibition Centers Safe? How do destinations prepare themselves for the reopening? It is hosted by Jane Cunningham. So we are going to meet again. That's what I guess we're going to hear. Jane has 20 years of experience in the world of conferences. Based in Stockholm, Jane is the managing director of Cunningham Consulting. She holds a number of roles that drive her mission for meeting legacy. Jane, over to you.
Thank you very much. And we have a wonderful panel here today. I'm delighted to moderate this session. We miss the buzz of conferences. We miss the networking that's created when we meet face to face. But in the meantime, we do what we can with virtual events by disseminating information and by learning from different people around the world who are closest to what's going on. Today's session is all about getting back to face-to-face meetings. And I'm delighted that we have three leaders in the industry to join this session today. We have Tamir Dayan, who is the CEO of the Expo in Tel Aviv. We have Steen Jakobsen, who is the Vice President of Dubai Tourism. And we have Avner On, who is the General Manager of the Waldorf Astoria in Jerusalem. So we have three destinations, we have three different views, and I'm delighted that they're here to join us today. So welcome to this session.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much, and good morning.
Great for you all to be here. Now, Tamir, other than having this superb role and the experience that you've gained from the years of working at Expo, and also from working in an economic development role, you shared something earlier about having an opportunity to attend a conference in Dubai a few years ago. Can you just share that?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I think it was in 2018, it was not allowed for most Israelis to go to Dubai or the Emirates. And ICA held its conference in Dubai. And we in the industry every year go to the ICA conference. And when people told me it's in Dubai, so they told me, okay, this year you won't be able to attend the conference. And I said, no, we want to go to ICA and we're not interested in politics. And we will do everything we can in order to go to ICA. So me and my sales rep went to the ICA conference in Dubai 2 years ago before we had any peace agreements. And when most Israelis couldn't fly to Dubai, and it was great. And it was beautiful, and Dubai is amazing, and it was a wonderful experience.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Avner, thank you so much for joining us as well. You have great experience from working in the hotel you're at the moment, but also a wealth of knowledge has come from your experience in London working from the Hilton Metropole. You shared something this morning that was interesting, that you enjoy surfing.
Yeah, wave surfing. I've been all my life lived near cities that has a sea. And although I'm in Jerusalem, I'm using the time to drive to Tel Aviv, which is only 45 minutes, and enjoy the warm weather in Israel at the moment, 24 degrees centigrade, going to the sea and surf, enjoy it. And I do it as much as I can.
Absolutely lovely. Well, thank you for spending the time here today, and I hope the weather improves to let you get back out there. Now, Steen, we know each other very well, and you have been in Dubai for 8 years, and before that you were working in Copenhagen. You also shared that you're a keen golfer. Have you been golfing in Dubai this year? Are we able to do that?
Well, I have golf and as many other sports are back in Dubai, so we are able to go out and enjoy the fantastic golf courses that we have around the city. Just like in Israel, we have terrific weather at the moment with daily sunshine and amazing temperatures. So the weekends are spent as much as possible out on the golf course. And of course, we will also have the opportunity to watch some of the top golf players of the world that will be coming to Dubai in a few weeks to play the Omega Dubai Desert Classic. So I'm looking forward to that also.
Oh, fantastic. That's so good for our well-being as well to get outside and do the sports we love. Now that we only have around 20 to 25 minutes for this session, and there's quite a number of things I would like to cover off. Main things being, we want to find out about what's happening in your destination at the moment. We then want to see how have you adapted, how are you changing your offerings to make sure we're adding the value that we can for the clients that are able to meet and when we come back. I want to hear a little bit about your thoughts around the opportunities now that the agreement is in place. How is this really going to help the conference industry and help our destinations develop? And then finally, I just want you to share one thought at the end, if you can, on your thoughts of the future of conferences and what you think is going to stick from now and beyond. But Steen, perhaps you can just kick things off with what's happening in the situation in Dubai for your community, but also the meetings industry.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Life has pretty much returned to normal here in Dubai. So we had a quite strict lockdown in the early part of last year, but from June onwards, slowly gradual opening of all economic sectors led to us being able to open our borders for international visitors in July last year. Since then, we've seen a steady stream of international visitors come back to Dubai, visit the city and take advantage of the many offerings here. Actually, we've just recently been reviewing how last year went in terms of visitor numbers. December was a very successful month for us compared to what the rest of the world is going through at the moment. Dubai was actually the #1 tourist destination worldwide in December of last year. When it comes to meetings and conferences, we resumed local conferences in September, international conferences in October last year. We've seen a good number of conferences as well as trade shows that have taken place last year, and we have a good calendar of events lined up for the next 6 to 12 months. We issued a set of guidelines based on close collaboration with our industry partners, guidelines for business events that lay out health and safety protocols to ensure that both organizers and delegates and everyone involved can be kept safe while attending business events, while at the same time we're ensuring that the events can deliver what events are there to deliver, such as, of course, knowledge sharing, the business networking, and all these things that we know are important elements of meetings and conferences.
Yeah, absolutely, because at the moment it's really interesting that no longer it's just the meeting planner that needs to know logistics and everything that goes on. It's way more around the delegate attending, and it's more around that individual making the decision to travel. So having this information and these toolkits available, I think is extremely important. Avner, with being from a large hotel, how are things with you, and how are you supporting the huge team that you have there?
So we have a second lockdown. Since March, the hotel was closed until 27th of May. We reopened on 27th of May and closed again for the second lockdown on the 6th of April or the 6th of September. In between, we operated the hotel. The country offering something that calls unpaid leave, where the employees can be on unpaid leave and receive 70% of the salary from the government, and the offering is until June of this year. But it's flexible. You can bring back to work your employees, providing they then stay back in this program for 14 days consecutive, so they'll get back the benefits. In between, we had a lot of official visits from the Foreign Office and governmental visits, where we had to comply with the laws and regulation of the country. So, for example, before the second lockdown, we were allowed 50 people in one room for meeting, but there had to be 2-meter gap social distancing between the people. So When we had a big conference in the hotel, we built a table of 40 meters long, a hollow square with two sides of 40 meters and two sides of 20 meters in order to accommodate the 40-some delegation that were there. For example, with food and beverage offering, we went and we offer individual, everything is individual per person. There's no more sharing, obviously, where previously you put your croissant, danishes, or whatever in the middle of the table on a coffee break. Now it's everything is individual. But just to go back, and I'll talk about it a bit later, but going back to the employees, we do use the Zoom platform to do every other week a Zoom meeting with all the team members. Each department head is responsible for his employees to talk to them, keep them in touch, tell them what's going on, update them with what's happening in the hotel, what visits we had, and so on and so forth. We find it as an important tool because people want to talk, people want to see each other, people want to meet, but meeting at the moment obviously is a big challenge in Israel. We have a second lockdown, but we use IT platforms to keep people together.
Yeah, no, it's so good and it's so important. We all come into this industry because we want to work with people. We want to be close to people. So being able to share and connect in other ways has to be the bridge. It's not quite filling the void, but it's the bridge. Tamir, you work for a venue. It's all about experiences, amazing experiences. Can you share what's happening at the moment?
Yes, like Avner said, although we have a closure, we are very optimistic about the future. Currently, Israel has the highest vaccinations rate in the world. And by March, most of the Israelis that want to have a vaccination would be able to do that. So we do hope that by April, May, we'll be back in business. And in the meantime, our hands are full because we did everything we can in order to make sure that the halls here won't be empty and will be used in order to fulfill a meaningful objective. So in the beginning of the crisis in March, we looked into having a hospital in case of need in the halls. Afterwards, all the equipment that was bought by the Israeli government was placed here at the expo. And now we have 4 centers of vaccinations because this is a place that can bring together dozens of people from Israel. We have parking, we have large places, we can follow the health guidelines. So now we are vaccinating 5,000 people a day, so our hands are full and we're very optimistic about the future. This is what is currently happening in Expo Tel Aviv. We do hope, as said, that as of April this year, we will be back in business and see regular conferences. I don't think that the virtual conferences or the Zoom meetings will replace the meetings between people. Strategically, I see that when flights were accessible, people went to the airport. I see that when restaurants opened, people went to restaurants. And the minute we will have the chance to meet, not in a Zoom meeting, I guess we'll do that. I think it's essential and it's very natural.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you for sharing that update. It's certainly been a different time now where your venue is very important to the community as a whole, and that perhaps changes the future of how the venue is used. It's great to hear how optimistic you are and what's going on. Have you adapted in any other ways that you think are going to make a real difference when people start coming back together? The experience, will it change, do you think, from a couple of years ago?
I think that because not very long time, it's a short period between we closed and between the time we'll open. So I don't think that people will act differently. And I want to address a different question. I think a lot of people are talking about the way we will conferences will look in the future. And I think that in order to open the conferences, it's important to follow the health protocol. There will be some protocols all of us will adopt. And I don't think it's important whether there'll be a thermometer in the entrance and whether they're going to be 2 people in the room or 3 people in the room. I think that in order to bring back business, it's all about relationship and flexibility. we will all adopt the same protocols. And if you ask me if conferences and conventions will be safe, they will be safe. They are safe today, and they will be safe in 3 months. If people will wear masks and follow the protocol, it will be safe. But I think in order to bring the business back and to bring the clients here, I think we need to feel the clients. We need to share their thoughts. And people need today, they are afraid, they have risks. They want to organize a meeting for 3,000 people in 3 months' time, and they're not sure that people will come from France. They're not sure that the health guidelines will allow them to do that. And we need to know that it's a different world now. They need to be assured that the risks will be addressed. So if we need to pay them, if we need them to know that they can cancel the event without payment, we'll do that. If we need flexibility, if they will go down from 5,000 people to 2,000 people, we need to address that with them knowing that we are with them and for them. Otherwise, they won't hold the conference. And I think this is the thing. The thing is relationship, flexibility, knowing there's a bit of uncertainty in the at least next 6 months, and not about the thermometer and the wet wipes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Steen, I would welcome your thoughts on this actually, because when you're looking at the destination as a whole, as Tamir's talking about, it's all about building confidence and really understanding what the needs are. How do you see Dubai approaching it? You're already having conferences are returning and you've been welcoming guests for quite a long time, but what do you think the adaptation will be even more so to make sure that we get back to a stage where we're welcoming all these conferences again?
One of the key things that I think have been the core of and the reason for the success of Dubai so far, and the fact that we've been able to move out of this pandemic as one of the first cities, has been a very strong public-private partnership across all sectors. Both in the immediate response to the pandemic, that a lot of public and private partners came together to design strategies to fight the pandemic, but also as we resumed different and various economic sectors in designing the necessary guidelines and ensuring that they were relevant, that they were efficient, and that they were to the level that was reasonable. So that's, and we've seen the same within our meetings industry, the guidelines that has been issued from our side on the resumption of business events. Those guidelines has been produced in close collaboration with our industry partners, our venues, our hotels, our local organizers, to ensure that everyone took full ownership of the new guidelines, but also ensuring that we received all the expertise input that was needed. So that public-private partnership has really been at the core so far, and it will continue to be so going forward, leading us out of this.
And Steen, do you think that's elevated the general understanding across a broader community of the importance of meetings and events to help drive economic recovery where it's needed, or to drive societal change when we get through this pandemic?
Looking at it from Dubai's perspective, events, meetings, conferences, and trade shows has always been at the core of economic diversification here in Dubai, and it will continue to be so. So we've, both from government and public partners and from the private industry, knows the impact and what business events bring to the scientific sector, to various economic sectors, to non-profit sectors, and so on. The pandemic will not change that. We know how important it is that when people are being brought together, that information can be shared, new innovation can arise, business partnerships can be formed, and so on. That will continue. And I think already what we've seen is that some of the events that we've held over the last 4 to 5 months have meant that certain sectors have already sort of seen an acceleration out of that economic situation they were in. And that will continue as more events resume, because they will help the economic recovery. And that's not just in Dubai, that's worldwide, that I believe events will have that very important role to play, as well as in the scientific field, where we need our scientists, our best brains to come together, meet physically, and design ways for us to ensure that everyone's being kept safe and healthy, also post-pandemic.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. It's a world of opportunity actually is out there as well. And with this fantastic agreement now in the region, Avner, can you see that the conferences and events are really going to support the development across the region now that there's more freedom of movement, there's more airlines being able to in the future fly, and so that people can really connect far more easily and develop partnerships?
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. With the opening of the airlines, our cooperation with the Etihad and UAE companies, the flights from the east, from the Far East they are shorter now, 3-4 hours, and the same applies with the agreement that was signed with Sudan and Morocco. Flights to South America also shortened by 2-3 hours. So Israel became a big hub for conferences. There's no doubt. We're working together with the Hilton partner in UAE and Bahrain to trying to work together conferences that moves from 1 year here, 1 year there. The collaboration that we were missing before, because we are very similar destination. Each one, it says, is benefits, and yet we need to work together. So as Hilton, we cooperate together to work on conferences that will move from one city to other city, from one country to another country, rotating every other year or whatever the schedule will be. But definitely the sky is now open, and flights to Israel become a lot shorter from all over the world, basically.
Mm-hmm. Tamir, do you think there'll be a rise in maybe more regional events or newer events such as this one? And we very much hope that we will be meeting in Abu Dhabi in May. But can you share any of your thoughts on that?
Of course, I think that good things happens with the corona and the geopolitical wind of change. I think that first of all, the corona showed us all that we are all the same, and we're afraid of the same things and have the same problems, and that made us more similar. And I think that political agreements between the countries will make sure that we will act as one country. So if we had some safety issues that were related to Israel or to Dubai or to the Emirates, now we are in the same pool. And if before that we talked about politics, I think that politics is set aside. And I think that some of the barriers that we had a year ago are set aside, and we are doing we are investing a lot of efforts in order to collaborate with some convention centers in the Emirates. And we are sure that thanks to this collaboration, we will see a lot more conferences, not only from Emirates or Israel, but international conferences coming to here, because now with the wind of change, Israel and the Emirates and all the Middle East became a lot more attractive than it was a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Great. No, it's exciting times. Now, we're already 20 minutes into this discussion, so I think we need to move on to just the last part that I wanted to touch on, is about the future. So the future is looking good, as you've explained, a lot of positivity. But Steen, perhaps you can share, if you were to share one thing that you think going through last year and moving into 2021, what do you think will stick and be a real part of the future of the conference industry?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, I'm very optimistic about the future, and I think we're all seeing light ahead of the tunnel now, especially if you look at the outroll of the vaccination programs. Israel is doing a fantastic job rolling out the vaccine. The UAE is a close second worldwide in rolling out vaccines. So I'm very optimistic, not only for our two countries, but also broader. I think that what we've learned, a couple of things, and the pandemic has brought around a very rapid digital transformation that we will see continue also being part of meetings and conferences going forward. Even though I'm a huge fan, for sure, of face-to-face events, I do believe that technology can help make our face-to-face events even better. And I think the pandemic has helped accelerate some of this. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that the attention that we now have to things such as health protocols, I think that's timely. I think it's needed, not to protect us from COVID, but from other, whether it's the regular cold or the regular flu and so on. So the implementation of those health and safety protocols, I think, can help us going forward, and they will be normally integrated parts of organizing conferences and other types of events going forward. So there are some positive outcomes that we're taking with us.
Great, thank you, Steen. Avner, what would you like to share on what you think the future of events looks like?
I'm also very optimistic about the future. I think that the digital platforms will not disappear completely. However, I agree with Steen that people like to meet face-to-face, talk to each other. What it will do, the digital platform, it will increase the number of audience that can participate in those events. The events will come back. It will take a bit of time, but obviously, I believe that they'll come back. Big conferences, large conferences, smaller meeting rooms, everything will come back with the time. And the digital platforms will not disappear completely from our life.
Great, thank you. Tamir, would you like to finish saying your thoughts on the future of events?
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues. I think the hybrid technology adoption will be part of our life in the next 12 months or so. And I think that it will be for the good, because I think that if now conferences were with 5,000 people, 2,000 more people will attend through technological platforms. It won't replace the face-to-face events, but it will be more accessible for people who couldn't attend it. And I'm very optimistic, like my friends, about the future. So thank you very much.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. That's our sign. Kate has come back in. But just as a wrap up, I think it's great that the future is looking wonderful. It's fantastic to have had the three of you here today, sharing your experiences in your destinations and what's happening to really drive recovery. So thank you very much. We will be back to better. We'll be meeting again and being more inclusive by being able to have conferences that are able to open up to a broader and wider audience. So thank you so much. And Kate, back to you.
Thank you, dear Jane, dear
Thank
panelists.
you.
Thank you very, very much for sharing these valuable insights, opinion, observations. Fingers crossed that we're going to meet again soon in person. But this was very valuable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.